So movie theaters are dying. At least it feels that way.
Each and every time it's starting to become a nightmare. Have you noticed that going to the movies has grown to, at least in our opinion, not be as enjoyable as it was a few years ago?
Kind of feels like walking into a prison. So today we thought we would jump on and kind of give you guys a quick 3 reasons that we believe that that is happening. Kicking off our list of 3, we are starting with a drastic change in landscape.
We're not talking about the kind of thing that your red-pilled uncle will post on Facebook, but more along the lines of between COVID shutting the world down for basically a year,
Yeah.
and the fact that, people are a lot more selective with their money.
And then immediately on the heels of that, we have a writer strike and an actor strike.
Yeah, which didn't help because like every other movie got moved to pretty much the following year. And if you think about it, even superhero movies, which were like the dominant genre for like almost a decade, if
Yeah.
not more, even that it has taken a steep decline.
A massive decline.
I mean, even Marvel movies that people didn't care for, they still made over $1 billion. Now I think Fantastic Four is like
Dropped 80% in its second box office weekend.
and I think that that's the first one to make over 500 million
Yeah.
in a while.
Yeah. And it then immediately tanked. And it's audience retention, I think. That brings us to our next point. Audience retention is at an all-time low, and that has a lot to do with kind of the TikTok generation that we're currently living in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people are more interested in 30-minute clips rather than an hour and a half movie. Well, now most of the time it feels like a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, and 30-minute clips seems generous at this point because most people are clocking out after like a minute and 20.
Yeah, there's a lot of time now where even before the movie actually starts, I just see people on their phone just kind of like, not necessarily doom scrolling, but they're scrolling through the TikTok hard.
Yeah.
And then I'll notice those same people, by the time the movie starts, they put their phone down and they can already seem like antsy, like jittery, like they're craving a cigarette. And it's a more noticeable, almost like withdrawal.
Yeah, I went and saw Superman on a Monday morning, and it was me and about 2 other people in the theater, one of which was probably had to have been 75-year-old man who decided that the middle of like kind of the the climax of the movie was exactly when he needed to pull his phone out and start scrolling through Instagram. And I think that's a perfect segue to our third and final point, which is audience etiquette.
Yeah, for me personally, that's the biggest one. I've had a lot of bad experiences the past couple years because people are so desperate to be the main character. Like they can't physically just not say something, not do something. Like last year when I went to see A Quiet Place Day 1, I went to the IMAX for that. I mean, that's how much is IMAX ticket? $20 something?
Yeah.
I was excited, never seen a horror movie in the IMAX before, and it was opening weekend, there was a moderate amount of people in there, and strolls in probably like 7 15-year-olds, and they did everything they could to be disruptive before the movie even started. And a guy asked them to be quiet, and they wouldn't be quiet. And then it got to the point where the guy actually stood up and like pretty much threatened to fight them. And at that point I was like, I'm gonna go get a refund.
Yeah.
See this another day.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. And I think another great point of that is me and Tyler went and saw, Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And the movie hadn't even started, and we're clocking about 10 to 15 people that aren't even supposed to be in the theater. That the second somebody that walks in is supposed to be sitting in a numbered chair, then these people are having to get up and move around and try to figure things out. Well, unfortunately for us, that was actively happening during the opening 15 minutes of the movie. People are filing in, which is already bad etiquette on their part, but then the people who were sitting in chairs that didn't belong to them have to then get up and go and move across, and it's very distracting.
Well, remember too when we went to go see Halloween Kills and that lady came in
Hocus
and
Pocus.
yeah, with the Hocus Pocus hoodie, and she was just reciting Hannibal Lecter lines because they were doing that like re-release thing,
Yeah.
and she just kept randomly talking. She wasn't even with anyone. She was just talking
Yeah.
and like saying things to herself, and then finally, the lady in front of her was like, she's like, "Do you got?" Or I forgot what she said. It was something along the lines of like, "Do you know what part of the movie you're gonna plan on stop talking at?" And then the lady, and then the lady was surprisingly silent and didn't really have any kind of like,
No confrontation.
yeah, which I was happy about. And then we were able to enjoy the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, Evil Dies Tonight.
But that's not to say that it's all been bad. Movie theaters are doing a lot to currently kind of try to combat the current landscape that they're finding themselves in. Merchandising being a massive step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are complaining about, you know, how high ticket prices are. And yeah, it is. And yeah, it's a pain in the ass, especially with how expensive things are. But movie theaters only get, I think, like 30% of ticket sales. So that's why concession stands are so expensive. But obviously, the idea of getting popcorn and nachos is only going to go so far. So the memorabilia and the popcorn buckets are perfect because, like, yeah, even though they're pricier, in my opinion, they're typically creative and well made.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my Jaws 50th anniversary bucket. I get a kick out of my Venom bucket.
There's a ton in the background in here that
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In the Nosferatu sarcophagus, I still love
Yeah.
that. I use that as a display.
Yeah.
And at least it's giving people the opportunity to be like, well, I mean, even if I end up watching this movie and I don't care too much for it, whatever, I get a cool popcorn
Yeah.
bucket or I get a cool cup, something like
Yeah,
that.
and to the collecting community, which is borderline synonymous with this TikTok generation thing that we're talking about. So the audience retention, a lot of collectors are actively going into movie theaters just to buy these things. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, I've done that. Like when Venom, The Last Dance came out, I went in at like 10 in the morning to Regal and picked up the Venom popcorn bucket, the one that you can stick your hand in, that one, and then the symbiote cup.
Yeah.
And then I got the Jaws popcorn bucket. I didn't even go see the re-release.
Yeah.
I forgot what movie I was even. I was
I
walking.
have the Jaws one, and I didn't go and see the re-release.
Yeah, I walked out months ago after watching another movie at the Alamos where I picked mine up, and I love that thing. It's part of my display.
Yeah.
I actually use it to display my 50th anniversary 4K of it, so
Yeah.
it looks like it's
Perfect.
eating.
And so we kind of came in hot and heavy talking about theaters dying and all this very dramatic terminology. But the reality is currently we are watching as movie theaters are having to restructure. They are having to kind of take stock in what is really working for them and what isn't. And it's kind of an intimidating time to be a movie fan.
Yeah. And I think, too, is that people also need to work with the movie theaters on, rather than, you know, trying to stone them and just complain to them, the audience needs to also do their part, become a little bit more respectful, a little bit more receptive, too, of what they're trying to provide to us at the same time. So movie theaters, they need to do their part and meet us halfway, but we also have to meet them halfway and work with them.
Yep.
And the etiquette is going out the window, but hopefully certain things like the memorabilia that we talked about can kind of at least sway more people in and bring in the fans. Because I feel like when somebody's a fan of something, they're much more willing to sit down,
Yeah.
watch the movie, and enjoy themselves, rather than I'm bored on a Saturday evening, so I'm going to go see a movie and be rowdy.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us today. So
Well, thank you for hanging out.
what do you want them to do?
Pound out that subscribing button. We need you.
Mm-hmm.
It helps us grow. We want you to hang out with us when we have little discussions like this, or big analysis, or whatever we choose to do with our time. Because we're grateful when you hang out with us.
And we never really know what we're going to do with our time,
Exactly. We don't know anything, actually.
which is why we're grateful.
Exactly. Please.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.